Okay, once again, my name is Mukti Upadhyaya. I used to live in Illinois and lived there for 20 years, and I taught economics there at the university before taking retirement. And we moved to Rockville, Maryland about 3.5 years ago. And so I manage the Educate the Needy Children, one of the non-profit organizations that is registered with Internal Revenue Services, a non-profit 501c3 charity. So it's tax deductible kind of donations can be accepted. And so a basic idea about the Educate the Needy Children was floated among a group of friends way back in 2010, 2011, and we established this organization in 2011, and we started sending donations to Nepal in 2012. So a bunch of folks did this, and today we have 2 members of this organization, Krishna Desar and Sami Gimire. Both of them are here today, and there are other folks who are really well-wishers of this organization. So we started this idea about helping Nepal, especially poor kids in Nepal, but once this idea was floated around, we decided we should do it. Where do we go? Where do we send our money? Where is going to be an area of operation for us? That's a very important question, and it turned out that Lalitpur, which happens to be very close to Kathmandu, it's next door to Kathmandu actually, is itself a district which borders with Makwanpur district in the south. And if you go to the southeastern part of Lalitpur, then there is extremely poor areas there. And I was shocked to hear this, the depth of this poverty in that particular area bordering Makwanpur. And people do talk about Jumla and Humla and so on, but some of the pockets of poverty there are fairly comparable to that. Things are changing now because it happens to be close to Kathmandu, so the roads are being constructed and so on. But back then, it was extremely poor area, so we decided to do that. And what is our mission? Our mission is to get the poorest, the children of the poorest community from the poorest community, and take them and give them a scholarship for 12 years. If we pick them at grade 1, then we'll be supporting them for 12 years up through the high school. In the beginning it was SLC or 10th grade, but then gradually it changed to 12th grade. So we do that. But an organization established in the US is going to support people or kids in Nepal. How can it do that? So we did need a local organization in Nepal, and that organization happened to be SETCO. It's called a Shiva Maya Educate the Children organization. And it has been in operation for more than 20 years. Back then it was more than 10 years that it was doing its work in education. It started in Tarai area first, but then because of the Tarai movement and so on, monitoring of students' academic progress became extremely difficult. So that organization moved to that Lalitpur area, Bhattidana area. If you remember, some of you might remember where Bhattidana area might be, which is not very far from Chapagon or Patan or Kathmandu. But then, so we got this organization to help us out. And so we collect donations here, we send the money out, and the programs that we have launched are taken care of jointly by SETCO and ENC, which is our organization in the US, Educate the Needy Children. So we do these programs jointly. And so the mission is to help out these poor kids from grade 1 through 12, but our emphasis is on girls' education more than boys' education, because traditionally speaking, girls' education has lagged far behind boys' education in Nepal. So that was the reason why we emphasized girls' education a little more. So that's what we have. Currently we have about 2/3 of the kids being girls and 1/3 boys in our program. And we are currently supporting 123 students or kids in a scholarship. Over time, there have been many more, of course, but currently 123 kids are still being supported. And a local organization, SETCO, is covering like 20% of the total cost, and we are supporting like 80% of the total cost of that organization. So that's what we have. Now, because of the fact that all these kids are extremely poor, socially disadvantaged groups, because many of you might be familiar with Tamangs and Muggers, and these people are in overwhelming majority in our work area. So, and it so happens that the girls are married off at the age of 14 and 15 and so on, and so they can get up to 8th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade education, and they just disappear. And so, so we have to have another set of students substituting for them. So that's the thing. But we don't care too much about that particular part, because as long as they got education up to 8th or 10th grade, we are pretty good. Because in turn, when they will have their own children, of course, they will support their children's education a lot more than if they didn't have any education now. So that was the idea. And but the thing is, because of the poverty, these kids cannot do the homework. Okay, the families, the parents cannot help them out, because the parents themselves are very highly uneducated. They didn't have even elementary education when they were growing up. So, on their own, they cannot really do this homework from the school. So what we decided to do was something called personality development training. So we bring all of these kids, like 35 kids at a time. We have established our own training center at a place called Mukti Upadhyaya, and we house them right there, 35 kids, and they are residential. We supply 4 meals to them every single day. We hire 4 teachers, and they teach English, Nepali, and math in particular, sometimes science and social studies as well, but those are the 3 main subjects, English, Nepali, because 5th graders, 6th graders, they cannot even write their names correctly. Many of them cannot. So that's the thing. And even math, they are really, really low in terms of their knowledge. So we have this training, and I will tell you the results of the training. When COVID started, all these programs got disrupted for 2 years. And so there was nothing in 2020, there was nothing in 2021. Most of the schools were closed for those years. And in 22, April, May, when we decided to have our personality development training after the COVID became less severe, well, we got about 40 kids at that time. And so we had an assessment before the training. Give me 2-3 minutes, okay? Training, so and their score was extremely poor in tests, Nepali, English, and math, all 3 of them. So we provided them intensive tutoring for 2 weeks complete. And it was like 7 or 8 hours of instruction every single day, in the morning, prayers and yoga and so on. And then some reviewing in the morning, and some multiplication tables, for example, times tables. In the evening, we'll have the review sessions, 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours. And then we will ask every single kid to tell them, to tell us and to tell themselves what they learned that particular day. So that way, the kids were extremely shy initially, but when it got started, they began to open up. And so it was a remarkable program actually, because toward the end of the program, they mixed together so well, the camaraderie was profoundly enhanced. So we felt pretty good about that too. And their score at the end of the program was rising dramatically. They learned so much, and their scores increased by 55%, which is totally incredible. I would not have believed it if any of you would have started this program and told me that there was a 55% increment. So a person who scored 60% would be in the 90s, of course. That was totally incredible. But the reason is their academic performance at a school was so low, in the 40s or so, 45, 50, something like that. So 55% was remarkably high, and we felt really, really good about it. So that shows success to some extent. Anyway, that's the personality development training. In addition to these 2 things, the cash scholarship that we provide to all these kids, and the brochure tells us about how much we pay them. It's 9,000 rupees per year, which is not a great deal, but still is. We wanted to provide a nudge, basically a slight nudge, so that they decide about whether to send their kid to the school or not to send the kid to the school, and they decide in favor of sending to the school. So that's the nudge we try to provide. It's very hard to identify that particular line, but we thought, well, this is all right, kind of, and it has worked pretty well. But it should be raised a little bit more now. But the thing is, because of poverty, some of the kids cannot really understand whatever is going on in the classroom. So we decided to start this hunger relief program, in particular because the COVID, because the parents they lost the job that they had and so on for some time. And so hunger relief, the details are given once again in the brochure there. That helped us. Now we have 20 families of the kids that we are sponsoring in education. It's the same 20 families. And if I had time, I would tell you the stories, the heart-rending stories of some of the kids actually. But these stories are profoundly inspiring. And so just looking at those people, actually, that keeps us going actually. And in any case, if we had more resources, then we would expand the program. The intensive tutoring program would be expanded, and the hunger relief program would be expanded. Now things are not quite as grim today as used to be 10 years ago because of the road construction in the area. Many of the parents can get some kind of job in the area, so they are not quite as miserably poor as they used to be. Okay, but there are still pockets of poverty here and there, and so we're trying to take care of some of those people. So that's basically the thing, and 75 students already graduated under our program from high school grade 10, and now grade 12. We have 20 kids already graduated, and many of them are still being supported, and in course of time we'll have more and more achieving their high school certification. So that's what we have. All the details are given in terms of the possible donations. If you are interested in donating to this organization, it's all there, and you can send me an email and so on. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.